All right, RC testing league number 2. Okay, we're on the play. Hand has got a couple zeros, a preordain, 2 1s. We're gonna keep it and then preordain, see what we can find. Okay. Saga. We're just gonna go Pentacle here, get a couple zeros in the skateboard. Get some pressure. Force them to fetch. See what deck they're on, maybe. Probably Gorios. Land pass from them. Probably got like a mending they want to fire off on our turn. Okay. We can start by putting the Shadow Spear into play. We're gonna just smack him and hold up this Rebuke for now. With a double crypt. So it's Falio. So it's Esper Blink instead of Gorios. It's fine. We're gonna counter the dog so they don't get to scam a Riddler or a Overlord. Emperor Bones, that's fine. Okay. We're gonna get a Mox off the Saga here and cast his Pinnacle from exile here. And then we're gonna use the Mox in our hand to replay Make a Guy and give this Pinnacle haste. Force them to like want to. They're not gonna want to block, but it could block with their Emperor Bones. play this E, get another 1/1. And hope they don't have Wrathless guys in the main, because that would be backbreaking. We're gonna get in here. Got 7 coming in here. They're gonna take it to the dome. Alright, so we're just gonna navigate this next couple turns pretty well through their hand of 6, 7 cards. You could have Tormod's crypted the Emperor of Bones targeting the Thalia, but I didn't think it was that important at the time. But maybe they're going to try to use it to scam a Solitude, or like to wipe my board more, or like a Riddler. Might like slap the Shadow Spear on something here next turn to get an extra damage in, depending on what we draw. We could put it on the Pinnacle as like a nice target because it already has 4 power, so it'll pump through whatever blockers they may have on the ground, anyways. But we'll have to wait. There's also like the point of like spreading the damage out on the 1/1, so like if they have a removal spell for the Pinnacle, we don't just get blown out there, and we can like spread the extra damage onto a token. And if that's what we're going for, we could even, if we have another mana source, we could like spread the Shadow Spear and the Skateboard across the tokens. Okay, tap land. I'm gonna do Flicker Wisp it. Frog. That one's scary. So, what we're gonna do here, end of turn, let them target something, is we're going to eat their graveyard just so they have to discard some of their 4 cards to block a flying token. So yeah, let's go ahead and Tormod script this graveyard. So now on our turn they have to discard 3 cards to get a air blocker. Alright, Emperor's coming in for 2. Our Pinnacle is pretty grounded. We can't really swing the Pinnacle into the Frog. It'll just eat it. Would rather not have that happen, so we'll have to see. Alright, preordain. Okay, let's do some math. 4 cards have a 1/2, so if we put the Skateboard on the Pinnacle, that's a 5/4, so they could just discard their hand and eat the Pinnacle and then take 5 anyways. So equipping the Shadow Spear is not good there. Whatever we spend mana equipping the to, if it's like in the air, it might not be worth it. I think it might be worth firing off this Preordain and trying to see what we can find, like maybe a Kappa or something, or we can always move the Skateboard as well to a token, and that would cause that token to get blocked if they want to discard their hand. So let's preordain. Let's see what we find. A Rebuke. I like the Rebuke actually. We're gonna take that, and then we're gonna just send the tokens here. So 5 in the air. And they can discard 3 cards and eat them to jump their Frog, and that's totally fine because we'll still have 4 tokens after that. and the Pinnacle for the next turn here. Okay, here they go. Emperor pending. Ephemerate. I got one card left now. Okay. Okay, so they're at 4. They have one card in hand that we don't know of. We have a counter spell, and they're going to draw a blank. And they have the Emperor to blink something with Thalia if they need to. Like, from their point of view, they could, like, go to combat, eat something from my graveyard, use the Emperor ability now to put Thalia in, and blink a token. And then that would, like, make it so I don't have lethal in the air next turn without using the equipments. Okay, they're keeping Emperor back for the Pinnacle. Sending the Frog so they can get extra cards. So they can have more resources to work with. Another important thing is that we get them to untap or tap out here. We can equip the Shadow Spear to the Pinnacle and punch through the Emperor still. Okay, so they want to pass turn. We drew land. Let's go ahead and shock it in, and then we're going to equip the Shadow Spear here to the Pinnacle. Okay. So that's going to draw possibly some removal. We have 4 lethal in the air, so like if they were to like Emperor Bones make Thalia right now, they can block, but we still have lethal, so they need... Okay, they had nothing in their blank in their hand. Okay. We got to work with... Alright. Okay, so like what do we want here? We don't really want Consign for Solitude, it's not great. Whip Flare doesn't really clean up much. Cage doesn't do anything. Curse Totem, Damping Sphere, not relevant. Alright. Vexing Bauble hits the Solitude Ephemerate lines and just Ephemerate Flashback, which can be very important when you're like gunning them down with the Kappa, and the only way to answer them is, you know, wrathing your board early or following that up with a Solitude. Swan Song can hit Wrath Disguise, I like it. Blood Moon is a beating for them. Their mana is bad. Galvanic Blast blows up the Thalia, and it can hit their face, plus the Emperor Bones. Question is, do we want Mystical Dispute for Frog and Riddler when they're on the play? I'm going to say we're not going to take it. We're going to keep the Rebuke, so we got 5 we want. Now Needle hits Emperor Bones and Frog, so it's like cool. Shadow Spear is not really the greatest. We're not normally racing. And then we can just go ahead and trim these Tormod's Crypts out, because that's not really what we need against them. Like they have the Emperor Bones and stuff, but like that's not super important. We're gonna keep the EEs and the claws and for the weapons. And then we have Needle for Emperor Bones or Frog. But we're not going to play Mystical Dispute for Frog because we don't want to have too many interaction spells in our deck already. And, like, Wrath Disguise is way more important. Okay. On the draw, we got 2 lands, 2 rebukes. The weapons, which is something we really want in this matchup. An EE, which is just air. We got a preordain on one. So we got a preordain into a weapons into interacting with counter spells. It's pretty good. We're gonna draw another card and hopefully don't get thought seized, because they could tear us up a little bit, but have to deal with it. Looks like they're just passing. Okay, we drew a Kappa. That's incredibly good. Alright, now turn one, we have a choice of playing the Izzet or the Island. In common sense, you just play the Island and then preordain and move on, but we need to think about if we're casting weapons on 2, and if we rip Saga, do we need to play it? Now, in this matchup, no, we don't want to play Saga on 2 mostly. You want to let it lean a little bit in the back. Play it last after they wipe your board, because you don't want to give them weapons manufacturing 0s and the Saga to eat at once. So we're good to go Island preordain here. And we're just looking for some air at this point. Okay, so we have a Bauble and a Saga. I want both of these, so we're going to go Bauble on top, Saga in hand, since they can't thought seize the Saga, but they could thought seize the Bauble. Alright, little back streets, Solitude, probably looking for lands. Now they could have Mystical Dispute and Spell Snare. I don't know if they play Spell Snare too much, but that's a card they could have. We're going to slam the weapons here and see how they interact. Okay. Now I want to get a couple things out of this, so I want to put the Bauble in play for sure, because we can cycle the Bauble, right? So I like that. What are they doing? They're getting a Surveil land, sure. Alright, they're setting up, they notice they have double white here, so they can Wrath the Skies for 0 if we were to play a bunch. I don't think it's relevant to play more 0s, except if they were to untap and go pending on the weapons, then this would only be 1. So let's just go ahead and play the weapons into the EE, or the EE into the Wrath of Skies if they have it. And we're going to pass turn on their upkeep. We're going to hit the Bauble, so they can't thought seize that card, but we can see what they get for the turn. They have a Thalia. Okay. That's fine. Alright, so we have 3 artifacts here. We have 2 lands, so we have a land for turn 2 next turn. So we could slam a Kappa, but we need to figure out what they're going to do. And if we draw off this Bauble trigger next turn... Okay, so they have a dog they can flash in. We're going to go to our turn here. Get our Bauble trigger. Alright. Alright. Lots of stuff to work with here. Alright, how do we want to start? We're going to start with the Saga, actually, because we're going to use this mana to cast this Needle and see if they have a response. Because if the Needle resolves, we can get their Marsh Flats, but they should crack it in response. But we don't really want the Marsh Flats. It can just, sometimes it can happen if they just let it happen carelessly. Okay, they got another Survey land. Trying to set something up. They probably Wrath the Skies. Okay. Alright, what do we want to name? Let's go with Frog for now. Trigger the weapons. Alright, let's get this claw in. We also need to be scared of Wrath, those guys, and Mystical Dispute on this, so we need to count here. We got 3, 4, so 7. Okay, so let's go ahead and cast Kappa here. We have the Rebuke up right now, so we could rebuke a Wrath of Skies or a Mystical Dispute if they had it. They didn't have it. So I'm guessing they have the dog into turn here, And we're going to let the dog resolve. We're not going to counter it. We're not going to shoot it with the claw and a weapon token. We're going to let them take their turn. We can always shoot it before combat if we are scared of it, but I'm assuming they're going to try to set up a Wrath Disguise, and we really don't want them to Wrath our board yet. So I'm going to let the dog go, and then I'm going to try to let them go to their turn here. And then they're going to flash their doggy in. That's good. Not going to kill it. Alright, land. So they also could Solitude Kappa here if they wanted to. Or they could blink it out with Thalia too. I've seen people do that. And then could try to consign it on the way back down, but can't do that on turn 4. Alright. Little Overlord. Tip, Wrath Disguise. What did they get? They got a Solitude. Okay. Alright, they can definitely attack this dog into this Kappa, and I'll just block it here. Now here's the question, do we want to use this Rebuke now? We deal 10 to them, and then we untap and kill them, I believe, by just activating Saga. So... And they're tapped out, so they can't Solitude and hit Kappa. I'm going to say let's let them have this. Let's deal them the 10 with the munitions. And Pest Control does not hit the Saga, so that's like... If that was Wrath Disguise, then I would definitely be rebuking that. Okay. Now they can Solitude their own Overlord. So if we draw a 0, that makes it easier, but if we don't, then it can be problematic. They got another Solitude. Okay. Let's go ahead and force them into this awful situation. They're going to have to Solitude their own Overlord here. When they pitch a Witch Enchanter. Okay. Alright. Oh, we should have played a land. Now, they got to answer our board and the Kappa, because the Saga is going to pop and kill them anyways. So they need a white card Solitude to hit the Kappa, and they need to clear the board. So now they're in a rough situation. They're back against the wall. Like, they have 4 cards, and we know they have another Solitude, but it doesn't really do anything. They need like white card, the Solitude, Consign, Wrath the Skies to clear my board here. Okay, shocking in. Okay, Solitude, Pitch, Flicker Wisp. Are they going to go for the Kappa? So they have Ephemerate. So they're going to Ephemerate and hit our token? Oh no, they don't have Ephemerate. They could have Fatal Push? We'll have to see. We'll have to go to our turn here. Alright, let's go ahead and make our guy. Let's get our skateboard. Where's the skateboard? And then let's force interaction. And we don't need to put the skateboard on the guy, actually, because we just have the Rebuke. We'll just tap the Rebuke, and then we don't have to play into their mana. They're playing into our Rebuke, not us playing into their mana. So we're in the driver's seat. Alright, there's the Fatal Push. Go ahead and Rebuke that. And we're going to rumble through this construct. And that's Esper Blink, round 1. Okay, round 2, when we find the match. Alright, we're on the play. We got a doubler, 2 zeros, 2 lands, 2 kappas. So this is pretty good. We're gonna lead on. We're gonna lead on the Izzet. Plains could be Gorios again. Oh, we rip Pinnacle. Okay, so we're gonna try to go. Let's think about this a little bit. I think Weapons is a better card to cast here because it doesn't open us up to losing a bunch more. Because like if we go Pinnacle and then Mox, then like we'll have a guy, a Mox, an open land, and a Claw. That doesn't do it. Let's just try Weapons and see if they'll interact with it. And then next turn, we could potentially next turn drop 2 kappas. And we don't know what they are completely yet. Like they could be a million different decks here. Okay, they're black, white, or red, white land destruction. So they could have a Roads and Solitudes. Let's go ahead and start with Pinnacle again. It's actually not a bad spot to be in versus them because they have trouble getting the weapon tokens off the board and the kappas early before turn 4. Because like their best way to answer kappa is usually to go ahead and like Solitude it or kill my stuff early. All right, Solitude, pitch Solitude. Fine. Let's play some zeros out here. 4. Now let's get a Kappa in. Alright, let's go ahead and use this to grow this Kappa bigger. Then ship it back since we don't have enough. We only have 4. Alright, they can't handle that already. So that's good. Alright, for land destruction we have a couple things. Not a lot, really. Damping Sphere doesn't do anything. None of these cards have text. Blood Moon is interesting because it shuts off their Quarry Steel Mountain and their land destruction spell lands that are pretty nice. Blast could be relevant as a way to close out games or like answer a Solitude. Not where we want to be. Swan Song has the most text here. Consign, no text. Mystical Dispute is like a slightly better than Gal Blast because it has 3 mana counter a spell. But let's go back and see what we have in the main deck that we might not want in the matchup before we start bringing cards in. All right, so first off the Rift, the worst card is the Shadow Spear. That's an easy out. Let's get the Swan Song in. All right, and then from there, we have to look at like where we want to be with other stuff. You know, Pithing Needle is probably mid, but it can hit some things. But like, is any of these cards better than Pithing Needle? I think Pithing Needle is worse than Blood Moon, but it's debatable. We're going to bring in the Blood Moon here on the play and see how it goes. I don't think it's the greatest though. Like it might be better than Pithing Needle though first, which is fine. But in this matchup, we want to get the weapons down ASAP. Like, we want to turn 2 weapons or turn 1 or 2 Kappa. I mean, we want to do that in most matches, but like this one, it's like, that is how we play the game. Like, we're not sagaing them out of the game most of the time. This hand is raw. 4 lands, 3 zeros, junk. Alright, now this hand, we got stuff to work with here. We have stuff, but like, what do we do with this stuff? Okay, so I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna put a Pinnacle Emissary back, I think, because I want to hit land drops against land destruction here. Let's go. Now, they could take us off red, and that's kind of worrying. So let's go. We're gonna run the Sog out here. It's gonna get destroyed most likely anyways, so we're not too concerned about that. I just didn't want to get it Seal of Cleansing. That's crazy. Yeah, they got us. Okay. Alright. Let's run it back. We're gonna go Saga Pass. Sure. We have 2 islands, so. Alright. Now we get to slam the weapons. We're going to slam this Tormod's Crypt and pass. We really hope they don't Wrath Disguise us here on 2, because it's devastating. It's going to draw this game out so much longer. Alright, so they're going to blow up our land, it looks like. Yeah, after the basic. Yeah, she'll get a new basic. Noticeably, it's their 4th turn. They haven't played a land yet. There it is. Alright, perfect. A Bauble. We're going to go ahead and try to slam a Kappa if this resolves. That gives us artifacts, I believe. Okay, sure. Yeah. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're gonna go ahead and play Kappa, and we're gonna play this Pinnacle, or not Pinnacle, Emery. Now that they gave us, basically ramped us a little. There's another Kappa down there. So now they need to deal with a Kappa and that Emery, which is doable on turn 5 because they can go Solitude, Pitch, and still their road. But it's asking a lot of questions, and they need to answer them in an orderly fashion, and they might not be able to attack my lands while they're trying to do this. So that's the pinch where we put them in. It's like, how are they supposed to interact here, you know? And the Welding Jar is actually okay against them if they have Wrath of Gods. So next turn might be a rebuy Welding Jar turn, play a Kappa, you know, or play Kappa, redo Welding Jar, and then preordain maybe. But we gotta wait until we get to see what their 4 cards are before we get to make any real decisions that matter. Okay. So they don't have another thing. All right, let's fire off this preordain and see what we got going on. There's a Welding Jar. I'm gonna take that one. Now what? 3. All right, Crypt doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3 doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, we're gonna play this Mox. Let's peek at their card. Doesn't really matter, but okay, they have a land destruction spell. We're gonna map onto our Kappa. What do we reveal? A Mox Opal. Put the real card in. We do not want that. We're gonna bend it. We're gonna play this jar to protect that Kappa, and we're gonna hit him for 11. And they are done with us. Now, that was a pretty lackluster game against land destruction. Normally, it gets pretty drawn out. They like blow up your lands. They throw you off balance. You don't draw the right cards in the right order. Like we had Kappa, and Emery, and we never ran out of land. So like they were just on the back foot, and they had some weird spells in their deck. Like they had Seal of Cleansing and Get Lost. And Get Lost versus us is like medium because it's giving us the map tokens to like ramp that we already wanted. So that's round 2. All right, here we go for round 3. All right, we got a match maybe. Here we go. We're on the draw. We have we have everything we ever wanted except lands. This is a high upside, high risk hand, but we're on the draw, so we're gonna get an 8th card, and I'm gonna keep this and roll the dice because we can still turn 1 Pinnacle and then make some guys like Obobble. Let's see what they're on here. Green. Birds of Paradise. It could be Devoted Druid. We do the land. Okay. How do we want to handle this? Alright, we're gonna go Saga, and then we're gonna play the Bauble, a Tormod's Crypt, and an Opal, and we're gonna slam Emery. And then we're gonna see what we know here. And then okay, so we have a 0, so we have 4, 5, 6 there, we have this. We really want another land that makes color. So we're gonna cycle. They have Greenstone Zenith. There's our fucking island we needed. Okay, got some things going on. This is their Tyvar. Really hope they whiff on it. We don't have time to pressure it really. Hey. Alright, another land. Saga ticks up. Okay, let's do some stuff. We're gonna go Pinnacle Warp. We're gonna get this. We're gonna get this Bobble. Make a guy. Now let's do some math. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So do we want this Bobble? I want to pop the Bobble, so we're gonna play this first. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we could leave open a crypt if it matters. Could matter if they mill something. Okay, let's go ahead and get a Bobble going. Give it Devoted Druid. It's gonna get a little scary. Yeah, this is a scary. This is gonna be a slightly scary turn for them. But they don't have a Cub yet. But if we untap, we get to go make a construct, get escape, or tap a guy, and then we have 5-ish. We'll have to see what they do here. Because if we can't kill them, maybe we'll have to shift to getting a needle. But we need to find out what they're doing here. Okay. Remember, we saw Green Sun Zenith and they have a halfling. So, Green Sun for 2. Could be Devoted. Yep. There's their halfling coming down. Okay. They just have Vizier. Okay. Can we do anything here? No. Okay. So they have 1 blank and they have a redraw. So we just have to let this happen. Okay. Nature's Rhythm for 2. This should kill us. Okay. Yeah, so they can just grab every creature out of their deck and play everything and kill us this turn with like some kind of ballista or something most likely. We're just going to go ahead and pack it up. Okay. We got Grafdigger's Cage, which is really good here, shutting off the tutors and getting Dried Arbor off fetches and bringing back creatures with Tyvar. Cursed Item, shut off the Mana Dorks. The removal spells are mid, these ones. The Whip Flare is amazing. So we don't even know we want Gal Blast. The counter spells, not the greatest. Now for things we want. They're pretty fast. Like Weapons Claws is great on the play. But let's see what we can do. We don't really want this. We're going to get rid of the counter spells here. And just try to lean into these. And then really want, do we want Galvanic Blast is a question. I'm going to say we're going to go with the weapons and the Whip Flare. And we leave the blast there. Now this is kind of wrong maybe. Maybe Preordain is worse. Debatable. This hand doesn't do much. This hand is pretty good. We're gonna keep some artifacts and bottom this reef. We're gonna fire off this Preordain here. I got a ley line. Alright, junk. Junk, we're looking for some action. We don't have a lot of action here. We just have a way to stop them from playing the game to give us time. So we really need some action. Okay, let's check out what they got. Okay, let's jam the Curse Totem. That's our best card in their hand. Claw, more junk. It's a cub coming down. Oof, sure. You could have beat me down there for one. We're gonna just start beating down. So we're gonna play this. We're gonna play his claw to make a token, but we're gonna keep the EE because we might play that on 1 to blow some 1-drops up next turn here. But we can't right now with this, so it's a really far in the future type thing. And this hand right here is a really good example of, like, yes, we had a good sideboard hate card, you know, with Curse Totem, but, like, did it matter because we could barely finish the game? You know, we have no pressure, pretty much, in that hand. And we ripped the Pinnacle and it was okay, but, like, now we can't really attack with the Pinnacle, you know. Put this weapons in. I'm going to go ahead and play this EE on 1 here. And then we're going to get another token to start pressuring him in the air. We're going to go ahead and hit him for 1. You know, get that raise damage in, huh? We're going to hold the sink. We're not going to pop it. Because we could next turn line up Sink into Stupor on the oof, and then our claw is active, where we can start claw controlling the board down. We both kind of got our backs against the wall. Like, they're neutered, and they need to answer this Curse Totem. But we also just don't have great pressure, so very miserable spot for both players, you know. And if the oof leaves the battlefield, or I lose this Pinnacle Emissary, each side gets to open up. Like, they can just beat me down, even though I have Curse Totem. Like, they have more creatures in their hand right now than I do, and I can't interact with my stuff. So, like, if they go Gorilla and blow up my Curse Totem, I'm not going to be able to answer anything that they have with the Leyline out. Alright, got a Devoted Druid, adding more stuff to the board. Opal's pretty good. We're going to make another token and another weapon token. And then we're going to get in the air for 2 with the tokens. And think about this Pinnacle attack here. So we could send Pinnacle, because they're not really going to want to block with Collector Oof, but they could offer it up. They could be like Collector Oof and Delighted Halfling, and then we can just sink whatever to get the favorable block so we keep the Pinnacle. So I'm going to send it. I don't think they're going to chump, and 5 damage is a lot for our clock. So let's do that. Let's pass it up. What do they got? Green Sun for 1. I'm going to let that resolve. I'm not 100% sure what they're going to be getting besides another Mana Dork to clog up the board. Haywire Might doesn't do it. I don't know any other 1-drop green creatures that interact with my stuff. Birds to block flyers. Okay, that's fine. Okay, they're going to hit in for 2. I'm gonna let that happen. It doesn't really matter. And then we're gonna let them move to end step so they can't do anything. And then we're gonna go ahead and sink the oof. And claw down the bird. And they're out of here. Okay. Now we're on the draw. These claws are pretty good with the weapons still. We're gonna take the preordain and bring these Galblasts in instead. Because I would like to have Emery if we get into grindier games. Don't really want to cut any of the zeros too much. Unless it's a Tormod's Crypt. No, I need to be fast and interactive, so I want all of this stuff. We could have cut a weapons, but I still want that stuff, right? Do we have a turn 1 Emery, and then it goes into a needle to interact, and we have Pinnacle to make some pressure. So it's pretty good amount of stuff to do. They don't have a ley line. They just got a halfling on them all to 6. We could like 3,000 IQ and needle Tyvar. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go Pithing Needle and name Tyvar. Tyvar. Jubilant Prowler. And then pass it up. Okay, is this Cauldron or something? Oof. Sure. Sure. Alright, now we gotta make some pressure. Galblast also can answer the oof in these games where we want to unlock our control stuff. There's a Curse Totem and a Kappa. Christmas has come early. Let's just make it to another turn. So they might have kept a greedy hand here with a Peat land and a halfling, because they didn't play a land on 2 and it's turn 3, so we'll see how this advances this turn. But for my turn, depending on the draw, I really want to resolve this Curse Totem to lock them out further of mana. Cub is pretty good. And if they turn this land into a creature, I think they have to. The Curse Totem will actually turn off. They'll have no lands. They'll just have nothing they can make. I got to take the 2 for now, but I mean, soon we're going to have a Kappa. Depending. Okay. Let's go ahead and shut them out of the game. So they can't use any of their lands, and their elf doesn't make mana. I want that ball. No. I wanted that welding jar, but let's just move on. These can't block, so we're going to get in. They got 4, 5, 6 coming across the board at us next turn here. Is this a force negation? That would be rough. Okay. We probably lost this game. Worse. Okay. Medium beats is their plan right now. We can do that. We can handle some medium beats for now. We're gonna send. Are we going to 8? Yeah, we're gonna go into 8. And send in 2 of our tokens. Tap that shit. Yeah, so now our 3/3 is walling off their 2/2s in this weird combat. They have so many top decks that are live, they can crack this Peat land and get a draw out of it, and then another draw. Okay. They're gonna go for a Surveil land, maybe? No, Dried Arbor. Scary. Another Cub. Oh yeah. So many guys. What are we gonna do? Let's crack. We cannot equip. So let's just crack. Okay, that's tapped. Alright, so 3 to 8. They have no cards in hand, but they can Peat land for another card, and they have a top deck. So they have 6, 7, 8, and 9 they can hit us with, but we can block 2 to go to 1. So we're gonna send all of these, put them to 8. And then we really need to top deck something. A Gal Blaster Whip player would be amazing here. If we don't die this turn. There's a high chance they just rip something and end in the game here. That'll end the game next turn. Alright. Does this have trample? No. Alright, so we send 5 in, because they can't block anyways. They fire up this, we can chump it, we can eat another guy, it's the same math. So they just have 2 cards in hand, and they can crack the draw again. And we have lethal in the air, and if we draw an artifact, we have a lethal with Kappa at the moment. So, because we have the Kappa to block, the Devoted Druid turning on the lair for 1. They could lair for 1, so it's, yeah, 6, 7, 8, yeah, there's 3 mana. The whole game's on the cards in their hand. Okay, we got that one. Curious what their hand was. But, yeah, we had the lair line locked off, so they can't just fire it up. We have 2 blockers. That's pretty good for us. Okay, we're on the play. His hand is got potential with the preordain. We got a lot of doubles here, but I think it's fine. Capo. We want that. We're gonna put it on top and hide it. And then pass it up. Okay, this could be the Bilbo Legends. Not 100% sure yet. Let's just go ahead and do this. Get this Emery going. Cycle this. Try to find a land. Now if we find a Mox Opal, we can go Pinnacle, Pinnacle, Kappa next turn, depending on how they interact with us. Drawing a card in turn 2. Interesting. You could have Rebuke up now. Let's start with a Pinnacle into the Rebuke here. Okay, nothing. Okay, let's go Bauble. We got 5 permanents. Let's go Claw. Let's put this Pinnacle on the stack. We're gonna tap the Crypt right now because they don't have Emery in play. Leave the Bauble open. I think it is gonna resolve because they didn't counter the Pinnacle, but not sure. Okay, let's check their top card. Another Saga. Longshitong. Okay. Rebuke, that'll be nice. Now we're just gonna outrace their constructs here. I'm gonna flip Tameo to make my turn off my drone tokens. Okay. Start with Pinnacle. Let's get this Mishra's Bauble here. Okay, let's hit for 9. Okay, I don't know what they're going there for. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and play this Emery out untapped in case we need to block. They might skateboard it anyways, but that's fine. Looks like they're going for something to interact here. Soul Guy, they're gonna pop our graveyard. That's fine. Okay. I'm gonna tap out for this. I'll just take the 4. Let's do this. We're probably gonna go ahead and kill this Tameo. I could have tapped this Soul Guide Lantern actually and forced them to pop it. Put Tameo to 1 real quick. And hopefully they don't kill us this turn. Spellbomb. They're gonna unsummon our Kappa again? Okay. Okay. They might try to unsummon Cap on my turn, which is annoying, but it's fine. Tameo again. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this Kappa back in. Pop their graveyard. Read the crypt back, make some guys. Pass it up. We have the Kappa and the Pinnacle to block this construct if we need to. Wong Shi Tong, we have the drone tokens. Okay, they have a key to the side door. That's scary. Okay, unblockable for 4. We're at 3. What else they got? They go to war at number 2. Okay. start the easy way here. I think I just go myself, actually. Dang. Alright. Bring in the Vexing Bauble. Let's bring in Galvanic Blasts and these Disputes. Let's get rid of... Let's get these preordains out. No, let's trim the Rebukes down and keep the preordains. Go like that. We'll keep this. We got interaction for their guys early. We have turn 1 Emery. We got the Kappa if we find enough artifacts. Alright, what we mill? See, no artifacts, okay. 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 We need him not to turn that Saga on. That would be problematic. Other Tamio, okay. Got the Saga on? No. Okay, let's start with this Crypt. Float of blue. Got this Kappa in the graveyard. Hope they don't have Rebuke. They don't have Rebuke. Perfect. They're probably gonna like Needle Emery maybe to slow us down on that. Or they're gonna go for the Spell Bomb and try to unsummon our Kappa again. Okay. They don't have the mana because they don't have Metalcraft for the Mox, so they messed up as well. So 2 games with both players messing up. This is great. What does resubmit like this? It's got removal and 5 lands. 4 lands and 2 Moxes. We're going to ship this. Hopefully we don't have to go too far down. We're going to keep this. We're going to put the eyelid on the bottom. Get some stuff going on here. It's not the best. Turn 1 for a Saga from them is crazy. That means they probably have it on. No. I don't know what that means exactly. Let's go ahead and make 3 power and cycle the bauble here. Try to find a 3rd land. That way we can hard cast this Pinnacle and start activating the Saga next turn. I'm curious. I got an opal on top. Okay. What do we get? Emery. That's a great pickup. We know they picked up an opal. Alright, we're gonna have to take this a little slower here, and we're gonna have to smack them here. We're gonna let them make a token end a turn here, and then we're gonna pop this EE. We're gonna lose all of our stuff, but we're gonna set them back as well, and they're gonna lose value on the Saga popping as much as we can. Our next turn might consist of just like land Pinnacle pass, go from there. Okay. Set rebuke mana up, but can't do anything about that too crazy. Okay. Saga's in play. Let's go ahead and try to play this Pinnacle real quick. Oh, it resolved. Okay, we're gonna get this Welding Jar, make a token, and pass it up to them. I'm not sure what's in their hand. Maybe a bunch of 2-drops, artifact like Bilbos and stuff. Maybe if they have that in their deck. Needle is fine. They're gonna name Saga most likely. Now their Opal's on too. I'm guessing they drew that Pithing Needle because they didn't play it last turn. I believe they, unless they played the key, I forget exactly. Okay. That one, they have no spell they want to cast. Okay. Let's go ahead and put the Emrian on the stack. See if he gets countered. No, it resolves. No rebuke. Let's go ahead and attack. Start clocking. We're not gonna pre-read, and we're gonna hold open this Galvanic Blast so we can interact if they get a Tameo or something down. Boomerang basics on their Opal to draw a card. Yeah. Discard Opal, draw too. Yep. So sick. Namo. Cameo. Gonna pass it up. They still have Rebuke mana, but they didn't have it last time, but we're gonna check it again. Alright. We also want to tap him out so we can resolve this. Try to resolve this Kappa if we can. Okay. Alright. Wong Shitong. Yep. Yep. Okay. Saga's gonna pop here. They're gonna get a card out of us, but what do we want to do? I think we're gonna get the skateboard and try to race him down. This bauble. Do we have lethal somehow? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we should have lethal if this all resolves. They're all tapped out. Let's see. Okay, we got that one. A little rough play from both sides from us, but we're going to see what happens in the trophy match. Alright, let's just jump into round 5 as soon as we get paired here. See what we get matched up against. Something fun, maybe. Modern's a wild roller coaster of emotions every round. Alright, here we go. We're on the draw. Fun. Our hand is okay. We don't really have Saga or Kappa or Double Lair, but we have Lands, Pyridane, and an Emery. But we're gonna see where this goes. And we're gonna find out what they're playing. Ooh, Marsh Flats. Could be Esper Blink, could be Gorios. Sporos. Haven't seen this one in a minute. Hand got incredibly weak. There we go. Pentacle's nice. EE's nice. Let's keep the EE. See how they play this turn. See Clinkiller Saragaban. It'd be really good if they like play a bunch of other ones into it. They hit my weapons. Really wanted that. Like if they go Guide Pride here, I can literally just go Bob will EE on one Emery next turn and pass, and then they're forced to answer the EE, or I get to eat all their one drops. So there's Guide. You got Pride too? Guy Pride. Bands all together. Okay. Let's go E on one. Get that out there. Let's get our Bobble out here too. Let's go ahead and cast the Emery. Probably gonna die, but I want to get it going. Do a little peeky. Planes on the top. Okay. Emery Mills. There's a Kappa down there. That could be useful. I have a strong feeling this Emery doesn't make it for the untap. They got a grip of 3, assuming one of those is like a 3-man charm, Galvanic Blast, or Galvanic Discharge, or something. Okay, okay. Got a Rebuke? That's not a bad pickup. Johnny? That one. Ooh, that's scary. Yeah, now we're like in a weird spot because like we want to block something. Well, they're just gonna go ahead and flip the Johnny now. All right, they got 1 blank. Emery is dead. What do we have to work with? We're taking... One of these is getting jumped, maybe? We are getting pummeled here. I don't think we can beat that many cats no matter what. So we blow up the 1s. We're just dead on turn 4. Yeah, they had a pretty good aggressive starter. Start was pretty mid in the blind here. All right. So boarding. We only have 3 cards we want. Cage. All these tokens don't really matter. Swan Song is not very good. Now what do we not want? I don't like Emery. I think she dies really easily. And then I don't like Rebuke as much because it's reactive, and they have Voice of Victory in their deck, and they're pretty proactive and they're cheap. So like we're trying to trade a Metallic Rebuke and tap artifacts to like counter like a 1 or a 2 drop, and it's just like it's awkward. I'd rather just play the Galvanic Blast and the Whip Flares, but like we don't have enough cards to take all this out of our deck. So we're gonna play a couple of Rebukes and deal with it. Because maybe the mapping is poor for Boros. You know, we don't have a 4th weapons in this deck list, which is sad. We don't have the 3rd claw. So like our claw weapons is like really good against them, which is like punishing fire setup. Otherwise it's a race. We're gonna like Kappa, grab the Shadow Spirit as soon as we can. Saga tokens don't really last, and Pinnacle tokens don't really get there. Alright, this hand is interesting, but pretty mid overall. Like we have the weapons and a land. We have 3 baubles to cycle, but we don't really want to cycle our baubles before we find a land. So let's find a better 6 maybe. Let's see here. This 6 is interesting. let's go ahead and keep it. Put the skateboard on the bottom. And then we're going to play this Spire Bluff. We're going to just hard cast Pinnacle Emissaries, and hopefully they can clog up the board a little bit enough until we can find something. We're not going to just go Pinnacle Claw on one. We're just going to go Spire Bluff Pass, because the Pinnacles with the weak hand like this are way stronger if we do them both in the same turn. So like turn 2, go Pinnacle Warp, make a token, and then anything we have doubles, so we get more value out of our weaker hand. So we'll see. They're probably going to lead on Ragavan, which is obnoxious, but can't do anything about it. Oh, God of Souls. Still scary. We found a Kappa. Okay. Now we get to the debate here. It's like, do we want to go Pinnacle Claws this turn? And that makes us 3 tokens plus the Claw and the 2 Pinnacles. So that would be, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we have 2 lands. So we can play all that this turn, right? But then they could just untap and Wrath Disguise, and then we're stuck with a Kappa and Pinnacles in our Warp Zone. So it might be better here in this scenario to just pass and let them think we have removal, maybe. So maybe they're not going to, you know, play to the board too much, but they're kind of forced to, you know. At least a guide, like a Guide Pride here, or they'll go like a Johnny Pass, you know. We'll see. Or a Bombardment sometimes is really nice. Okay, that's the worst possible scenario, a High Noon. But we're just going to go to our turn and hardcast the Pinnacle and go from there. Okay. For the next 3 turns, we might be just hardcasting Pinnacle Emissary until we get to Kappa mana. At this point, I think lands are better than spells, since we can only play 1 spell a turn, so more lands lets us higher chance to cast Kappa, so like, it sounds awful. Like Saga would be great too. Like they're also locked under this High Noon with their 4 cards, but their cards are probably stronger on average where we can't deploy, and they have a removal spell. Perfect. Play this E on 2, pop it, or we can just play and do this. I'm gonna play into it, put a guy on the board, because now they have to kill it or go around it with something bigger. I think it's better than trying to deal with popping it. Also, if they like play another 1 mana guide to the board, like a guide here, I can untap and go EE and pop it right away. Yeah, see. So they'll have a token out of this situation, but I'm going to get a token and I'll have my 3/3. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do this. EE, make our token, which is hella nice. We also get the smack, depending if they could have a removal spell still, but like, whatever. You know. We just killed a guy in the Pride, which is pretty nice. Start smacking for 3. See what they do. They're taking it. Okay. Now they get to play their 1 spell, which is probably going to be a banger. If we find a land, we get to put the Kappa into play, and then with them locked under the High Noon, the Kappa is incredibly good because their board is very, you know, they have a cat token compared to ours. Okay, Static Prison, good. There goes our Pinnacle. Okay, let's cast another Pinnacle Emissary. And we're going to get in for 1 since we can't block. It's like the world's slowest chess match. They got so much energy as well, so like the static prison is like almost never, like this game might be over, I don't know, depending on how fast we're playing it. It could be over before we even see that card. That's a fine one. They can block next turn and shoot our token, which is annoying, but it's whatever. Weapons. Weapons is really good here. Let's go to combat first, and then we'll make a decision on how we want to play the rest of the turn. I feel like they're just going to go cat token, block, shoot the drone, which is fine. Like, we still have Pinnacle. Or they took it. Interesting. Alright, let's go red. We're going to slam this weapons. So next turn, if the weapon survives, we can play Claw, and then every card we play to the board is also a drone token and a weapons removal spell. So it'll slowly let us take over the course of the game over the next like few turns, because we're getting basically like almost 2 spells out of each of our 1 spell per turns that we're locked to. Johnny's good. That's why they saved their cat token. They should probably get it flipped here, but I don't think they can kill the Pinnacle without suiciding their board. Yeah. 1, make a token, shoot it. Okay. Okay. So they're in the driver's seat now. Let's get our claw down. So depending, next turn we could get the Pinnacle back. Depends here. That's so good. We're gonna have to stop them from attacking. So when they go to combat, we're gonna have to shoot this. This game is slowly fading away. Okay. So they haven't used a Johnny yet. They're going to attack us for 3, 4, 5. Down to 7. And then we will take, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll take 5, and then we're dead on board. Is there any way to stop this now? We can claw the cat token now. We're going to gain 1 and lose 1 here, because they're going to shoot us. And then they get to go to second main, because they don't get these unless they attack. Yeah. So they go to second main, they make a guy, deal us 2 to 10. But they get energy. We're gonna go shoot this cat token. Okay. And I think we lost this game, but we're gonna keep playing. bobble. Not great. Okay. Play this. Land. Alright, let's go ahead and kill this Guide of Souls. We're gonna gain one, lose one, because they're gonna weapons it. Or goblins in here bombardment at us. 12. They're gonna draw that plains, and then on their turn they're gonna activate and hit us for 1, 2, 3, 4 down to 8. And then they're gonna make a guy. Yeah. I think we're just dead this turn. Especially if they have another creature in hand. But maybe the High Noon was supposed to be blown up earlier. We didn't take the time. But we also couldn't beat those Guide Prides early, so yeah. Season Pyro is very good. So we're going to take 3 to 9, and then they get attack us down to 7. Okay, we're going to get another turn. I don't think it's going to matter. It's so far gone now. It stunk. I can hardcast this Pinnacle, and then on their upkeep, I won't get another Pinnacle yet. But they can just activate the land and swing out for like lethal. Yeah, I think we're gonna keep playing, but it's so far gone. And my decision I made on turn 2 to not risk myself losing to Wrathis guys, I put myself into position to lose the High Noon that turn. So maybe I played too scared that turn, and it caused me to lose here 10 turns later. But I really don't like getting blown out with that low resources. So like I'd probably still go back to that position and do it again, and then I would lose the High Noon again every time. But I still like not opening myself up to Wrathis guys out of the Boros deck, because they play like 2 or 3 of them. They play like 1 or 2 High Noons most of the time. Alright. And we're going to wrap it up here after they kill me. That was League 2 for RC testing. As soon as they get to the combat step here. Oh, they had to kill my last Pinnacle. Alright, there it is.